Ben Maller. Did you hear that? Ben Maller.
That's a big jingle,
Rob.
That's
Ben Maller.
That's network radio, Rob Parker, right there.
Ben Maller.
Unbelievable.
I love it.
Professionally made.
It is the Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio. Rob Parker and Ben.
Parker.
That's right, Ben Maller. In for Chris Broussard. Chris will be along. It's a funky flashback Friday. He's got some TV duties he's taking. And my man Ben Maller is going to sit with me until we get there. So I appreciate you.
We need the Rob Parker reality shows.
You know,
we need here. That's what we need.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And we are broadcasting live from the TireRack.com studios.
We'll do it live.
That's right, Bill. We will do it live. TireRack.com will help you get there with unmatched selection, Ben, fast free shipping, free road hazard protection, and over 10,000 recommended installs.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's
of
right.
installers.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Also, stop by Lids to get your Super Bowl look ready with the widest selection of NFL headgear and apparel. Okay, so remember all that.
It's very important. I'm a hat guy, Rob. Ever since my hair went away, I've become more of a hat guy.
You always have. You got the Brooklyn Dodgers hat on.
Yeah, I love the B hats. So
I wear hats, but I still have my. I'm still hanging in there for a guy.
You got the good jeans, Rob.
I'm hanging in there.
You don't need the hats, man. You don't need
no
the
doubt.
hats. Yeah.
But as you know, Ben Maller, who does overnights here on Fox Sports Radio.
I was here last night, Rob, in the overnight. And
you were here nobody was here.
I told one of these guys I was talking to, I said I had more security guards because there was nobody here except me.
Right.
But they had security guards at every door here for Radio Row. And so they were protecting me. I was the most protected man in radio.
And I love Ben because he's very creative. And how many mice did you interview last night?
Oh, listen, man, we killed it. We absolutely killed it. And I got a couple of cameras, microphones. Everything's laid out here. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Well, we are here for the Super Bowl, of course. It's fastly approaching. We're here Friday. The game, of course, is a Sunday night. Philadelphia 76ers and Philadelphia Eagles.
Now, if the Sixers play, that would be amazing. I'd go the other way on that.
So much NBA news. I'm like all NBA, but
this is a good week for the NBA.
It really was. Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs kicking off on Sunday, and we'll talk about that. Let's welcome in the Odd Couple crew because we wouldn't be able to do this fine radio program without them. This is your old producer, Rob G.
That's
right
Wrong
here.
Button Bob right there.
Right.
Legend. Fox Sports Radio and shut the whole place down, and he's still here.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And we also have, of course, Alex, our engineer. Also, Steve DeSager is running the update desk. He'll keep us updated throughout the program. Saga and Elijah are both here, our social media gurus. So we are all in full effect here at Phoenix for the Super Bowl. And Ben, let's get right into it. And we talk a lot about the players, of course, and first Super Bowl with two black quarterbacks. We know Patrick Mahomes won the MVP. There's a lot of stuff about that. But there's another guy who this is a big Super Bowl for.
Yeah, in fact, and I ranted about this a little bit this week. Andy Reid. All the talk, and I'm kind of tired of the whole –
Big Red.
Yeah, Big Red. I'm tired of the whole Kelsey thing, and that to me is played out. I got two brothers, and they both won Super Bowls. But Andy Reid, who's one of the all-time winningest coaches in the NFL, he's right up there. He's not Belichick, but he's not far behind. The guy's been great for almost 20 years in the regular season. But this is one of those pivot point games. Like, that's the first thought. You think about Andy Reid. You win the Super Bowl on Sunday – and now you're like, okay, we got this thing cooking in Kansas City. You won a couple of Super Bowls. You're 2-1 with Patrick Mahomes, 2-2 overall. But if it goes the other way, and a lot of people love the Eagles, they're the hot pick. And if Philadelphia wins, Andy Reid's 1-3, and the two of the coaches that followed him in Philadelphia will have won Super Bowls, and a guy that he fired. Although he inherited him, Nick Sirianni, the coach of the Eagles, who was there when Andy took over in Kansas City. So this is a big deal for Andy Reid. Plus, there's people that are like, hey, he's getting up there in age. Maybe he's not going to keep coaching that much longer. He's only got a few years left coaching the Chiefs. Maybe he'll even retire, have the walk-off if they win and leave. But if he loses, this is a big deal, Rob. I'm telling you.
I'm with you. Andy Reid, he finally got over the hump. You remember, it was like he couldn't win the big game. Yeah. Andy Reid's won a lot of games in this league, and he's up there. If you take a look at all-time winning records and all that. But the postseason and championship games.
Well, it's the clock, right? It's a clock. Goose on his clock management that he's not good at running the clock.
Right. I mean, we know he can do wonders with quarterback. Because this is no knock on Patrick Mahomes, but he's done this before. He did it with Alex Smith, who became a way better quarterback. He did it with Donovan McNabb and went to 4 straight NFC. Right? This is not new for Andy Reid.
Yeah. Is it Andy Reid or is it the players? Which one is it, though?
Well, my only reason I got to give him credit is because he's done it with 3 different. And if you just do it with one, you get a great player, and you just happen to be there, then I could say, well, it's not you. But always, like I always say, Bill Parcells won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants, but he went to the Super Bowl with the Patriots. He made the Cowboys better, and probably his best coaching job, and you might remember this, is when he took over for Rich Kotite and the Jets when they were 1-15. Made them to the AFC Championship game against Denver. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
And they led it to half. They wound up losing the game.
Yeah.
But that was an incredible turnaround. Would you agree? Like you look at once you have success at more than one place, it's got to be you.
The difference, though, Rob, is like in Bill Parcells taking advantage of the New York writers, which you were there for some of that. And,
I was there. I was there when he first started. I was a young reporter. There's a great picture of me sitting there during a press conference, and I'm like 23 or 4, and Bill Parcells is the coach.
But he was like a godlike figure, Parcells, right? The way people perceive Parcells. And Andy Reid, for all the wins, and I was talking to a buddy of mine who's covered the NFL for a long time. Andy's not like a big self-promoter. He doesn't. He's very robotic with the media. He's not a particularly great soundbite.
I get that, and that probably hurts him. But what hurts him more, Ben, let's just be honest. He's lost a ton of big games.
Yeah, no,
right.
It is a problem. I mean, and with Mahomes, who I know we'll talk about this as we go through the show on The Odd Couple, but we keep being told and being fed the assembly line of hot takes about Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback going today, this, that, and the other thing, and so you gotta win. I mean, people like Donovan McNabb. People were very critical of McNabb back in the day. Said that he wasn't that great, and the Eagles won because of their defense or whatever. And so, well, you don't have that excuse with Mahomes because
if you lose with Mahomes against Jalen Hurts, who last year they wanted to throw out with the bathwater, right?
He was a placeholder. He was like one of those people at the Oscars that sit there, where
last year
a seat holder. Yeah.
So if you were to lose to a third-year coach, right, against an all-time what people are billing as a guy who's an all-time great, he just won his second MVP. Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl numbers though aren't that great.
Yeah, they're not, and but that's another thing about you talk about the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. His numbers in big games. I mean, he has not been a big game quarterback yet. He's small sample size, but he's got a quarterback rating under 80 in the playoffs in the NFL. And in college, I can't get past what happened at Alabama.
Well, when you get benched, right?
Yeah, I mean, but back to Andy Reid and all that. The other thing that's got to be maddening is like the Eagles. You remember how the Eagles were pretty mediocre before Andy took over. It's not like that had been a glorious run of Eagle football. And he really established that team, and it's continued through other coaches after he left. But that was his creation, the modern Philadelphia Eagles, who have been a pretty consistent, pretty good team over the last 20 years. They won one, but they won one Super Bowl, but they've been a playoff team.
And that was a great one because that was over Tom Brady. That was a great one.
For you, Rob. Okay. Yes.
So Andy Reid is basically LeBron James, okay, when it comes to conference championships. 4-6. He's been there 10 times, 4-6, and 1-2 in the Super Bowl.
It's the quantity, man. It's all about the quantity.
Is that it?
Not the quality. It's the quantity.
Is that what it is?
It's like my diet back in the day. It's the quantity.
No, it's not about quantity. I would rather, like LeBron, all right? If LeBron plays 3 or 4 more years and gets to 24 years and never wins another championship, 4 titles in 24 years, is that impressive?
No.
That hurts you the longer you play.
Well, plus you got the bubble thing too,
the trophy that has the Mickey Mouse ears,
the Mickey Mouse logo.
But you know what? Rob G doesn't count. He counts it. He still counts.
He's a bad fan, Bob. Bob Gare is a bad fan if he counts that.
No,
it was at a resort outside.
So
Orlando.
Where's Andy Reid? If Andy Reid wins, I think it is a huge That second one is huge for him.
It doesn't
but
push
if he loses,
you past it. But if he
if he loses, then you got to say, well, what's wrong here?
Yeah, the consistency is Andy Reid, and there be people who say, hey, is it time for him to leave? Somebody else can come in there. They got the setup in Kansas City with Mahomes as long as he's there.
When they ran him out of Philadelphia, think about making 4 straight NFC Championship games, and you get and go to a Super Bowl, and you still lose your job.
They hit the eject button. They tell you to go pound sand, get out of here, goodbye, see you later.
Because at some point you say to yourself, can you get us over the top? You start to question it. I remember when the Pistons, you know this, in 2004 when they beat the Lakers. Sorry, Rob G. When the no-name Pistons beat the Lakers.
The Rasheed Wallace Pistons.
Right.
Yeah.
But you remember they had Rick Carlisle as the coach first. They thought they could upgrade and get Larry Brown, and Larry Brown pushed them over the top, and they won a championship.
Yeah, I know for sure. I don't think, Andy Reid –
I don't think they'll fire him or anything, but
I don't think he's going to leave either. Andy just seems like one of these guys, these coaches that don't have much going on outside of this. I don't know the guy, but he just from what we've read about him,
he's younger than he looks too, Ben. Like every time we look, we always say, "Is it time for retirement?" Then we look at it, and he's like 3 years younger than I am. I mean, I don't know how.
Well, my favorite Andy Reid story for me personally is when he got hired as the coach of the Eagles. He was in Green Bay. He was an assistant, I think it was a quarterback coach or something in Green Bay. And I was doing a local show in L.A., and our producer booked Andy Reid. I'd never heard of Andy Reid. I was like, why are we putting this guy on? I was like,
Are you serious?
I didn't know he was. Nobody knew who he was at the time. So we put him on. He's from L.A., and we pretty much talked about cheeseburgers. We talked about, eating Tommy's cheeseburgers in L.A. growing up.
Very nice.
We didn't talk much about football. And to think that he's continued for the last over 20 years in the NFL is nuts. But, as you said, and we talked about, this Super Bowl on Sunday, if the Kansas City Chiefs take a ride on the Vomit Comet and they don't get it done, it's going to be open season on Andy Reid. It'll be his fault. Because you figure if the Chiefs lose the game, either they're not prepared or they lose the game because of some clock issue late in the game, and Andy's going to be the one that bears the wrath of the fire-breathing dragons who will attack.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that it will come down to that. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out and where people are.